What up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Chef, and you already know what time it is. We are back for the YAK Pod episode number 9. Now, we're going to dive into the whole Jonah Jackson situation because, well, it seems as though there are those out there who believe that we are going to bring Jonah Jackson back. Someone said that we would prioritize bringing Jonah Jackson back. And to that, I say, why would we? Now, I don't believe that we shouldn't bring Jonah Jackson back, but as Spinmo Rex, shout out Spinmo Rex, pointed out, he is going to be looking for a long-term deal. It's his second contract. He's got a family to take care of, all these things. And that's all well and good. That's all great. But he hasn't played a full season in the last 2 years. And it is not that he hasn't played a full season, it's the fact that the amount of games that he's played has gone down over the past 2 seasons, right? 2020, 2021, he played 16 games. 2022, he played 13 games. 2023, he played 11 games. I mean, that's a trend, right? The nature of his injuries. He's had knee injuries, he's had foot injuries, he's had a wrist injury. Jonah Jackson is a big boy, right? He's an offensive guard. They are large human beings who carry a lot of weight. When you start getting a lot of lower body injuries, carrying a lot of weight, it doesn't get any easier to get back healthy. It doesn't get any easier to get back in shape. It doesn't get any easier to carry all of that weight on top of that knee that's injured, on top of that foot that's injured, and so on and so forth. Jammed wrist. I mean, you're a lineman. You're pushing other large human beings, other 300 plus pounders. You're pushing them, trying to make them go where they don't want to go. You're trying to push them somewhere against their will, and your wrist is injured. I don't see how that injury, if it becomes chronic, doesn't affect your play over the life of your deal. What I would do is I would bring Jonah Jackson back, but it's going to have to be an incentive laden deal. Why? Because over the last 2 seasons, you have not demonstrated the ability to stay healthy. If we know that you can't stay healthy and we say we need our offensive line, when healthy, our offensive line is top 2 in the league. You could say that Philly's offensive line was better, but basically our run game was better than Philly's. That's just a fact, right? So you could say it's the number one offensive line in the league when healthy. But when healthy is a big thing. I mean, we've had a lot of injuries. Taylor Decker missed time. Jonah Jackson missed time. We know we have Vitae go out. Unfortunately, I don't think Vitae will be back, and I don't think that his career is really going to be, if he continues to play, he'll probably be a backup going forward. He's another very large human being, 300 plus pounds, and he's been dealing with a back injury, right? So we already know that back injuries are hard to come back from, but when you're 300 plus pounds, that's all the more reason that it's difficult. Their bodies are built for carrying around that weight to an extent. You see a lot of offensive linemen and defensive linemen when they retire, they drop the weight. Look at Joe Thomas. When he retired, he dropped that weight because, I mean, the human body, there's things that happen, with organs. There's things that happen with ligaments, joints, all these things when you're carrying around all that weight. So, as I said, Big V, if he's not done playing football, I don't think he's a starter anywhere. I think he's a rotational piece, or not even a rotational piece. He might just be a backup, and break glass in case of emergency type of player. But Jonah Jackson, he's a young guy, right? This is going to be his second contract. So he's currently on his rookie contract. Now he's going to be off of that rookie contract, and he's going to be looking for something for the Detroit Lions or for some from some other team. And again, I just don't think you pay him. I don't think that the incentives. I'll put it to you this way: I feel like that big deal that you can give him, I'm comfortable with giving him that big deal if it has incentives. If you play um, 15 games this season, all right, if you play 80% of the snaps, things of that nature, I'm very comfortable with, right? Because if you don't reach that 15 games, if you don't play those 80 snaps, there's significant millions that you will not be able to acquire because those are the incentives in the contract. If he wants to stay in Detroit, if that is something that's important to him, you never know. Then I think you take the incentive laden deal. I think that the base amount of the deal, I wouldn't be opposed to 5 million per. But obviously, I mean that may look like a slap in the face, but I'm just saying like that's your base. Um, and then I feel like you can go up to 10 million with incentives. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I just have a problem giving him 10, 11, 12 million per, which is what he may be asking for when he has such an extensive injury history. And like I said before, okay, our line was, in the top 1, 2 line in the league when healthy, but he was a big reason why we have to say when healthy. Um, like I said, he played 11 games this year, which means he missed six. We play 17. You missed six. You do the math, and it's not mathing. Yeah, we played 17 games last year. He missed four of them. You do the math, it's not mathing. What happens if we play 17 games next year and he misses or he plays nine of them, right? He misses eight. Do you do the math? The math is not mathing. Now we all hope that the health gets better and we hope that returns to, I don't even want to say returns to form, because whenever he's healthy he's in form, right? But we hope that he returns to being able to play a full slate of games, but it's just not likely. Like I said, with the body type, with the type of injuries that he's sustaining, once you start getting knee injuries, it's not easy to come back from those. Those things become chronic. The knee is a weight bearing joint. That's just the way that it is. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of torque that goes on the knees, twisting, turning. It's just not an easy thing. And like I said, he's a very large human being. He's a massive man. So I don't understand how you bring him back on a deal that doesn't, it's not littered with incentives. Um, and again, he may not want that. And if he doesn't want that, then unfortunately, we're going to have to look at losing Jonah Jackson. We're going to have to look at moving on, drafting someone. Uh, well, it doesn't even have to be in the first round. Jonah Jackson was drafted in the third round. So you can find offensive linemen who are of impact in the later rounds. Obviously, you don't want to go too deep, round 5, 6, 7. But third round, hey, that's easy. You know, Graham Glasgow was found in the third round. Jonah Jackson was found in the third round. We want to bring Graham Glasgow back. They've already reached out to him and told him, "You're part of our future. We want you here." Now, Graham Glasgow may want more money. So, how much money are we comfortable paying him? Are we giving him a couple more million to stay here? Because he's already left once, but obviously when he left, I mean, it was under the Patricia regime, and I would have left myself. I can't blame anybody who left during that time. But so we can address guard in free agency by bringing Graham Glasgow back, maybe signing someone else. I don't know if they would be of the caliber of Graham Glasgow or a little bit lower. But we do have some answers on the roster. I know most people are out on Kobe Sorsdale. Coyote. He did well filling in the NFC Championship game. So, and that's the thing. Like Jonah Jackson missed the NFC Championship game. So if you're missing NFC Championship games, you're missing playoff games with injuries. I mean, that's the worst time for you to be out with injury. So, it's not like his injuries are doing us any favor. It's like, we'll just pop up in the regular season, maybe in the beginning of the regular season when everyone is just trying to fill things out. Maybe just September. Maybe you'll miss September. No, bro. I mean, injuries happen when they happen, and he missed the NFC Championship game. Like I said, Coyote did a fine job filling in for him, and then that's another kind of knock on Jonah Jackson. If you're trying to be expensive, again, I don't know his contract demands, and I don't know that Jonah Jackson will not agree to an incentive laden deal. I don't know any of this. I'm just talking here, right? I'm not in his inner circle. I don't know his agent. None of those things are going on. Okay, all I'm just looking at is analytically what's best for the football team, right? And players have to do what's best for the players, right? Sometimes people don't understand that. The player has to do what's best for them and their families, the people that they're responsible for, the people that they support, just like any of us would do in a job, in a situation where you are not loyal to the company, you're more so loyal to your family and the people that you're responsible for, right? I mean, that makes sense. So a lot of times when people hate on players for wanting more money and like, oh, you could have done this, and the team, and you don't care about winning, blah 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 blah. No, they care about winning, but they also care about supporting their families. And yes, they're millionaires, but we have what we call standards of living. And if you're a millionaire, your wife, your children, they're already used to a certain standard of living. So you obviously want to keep them in that position. So, again, like I said, disclaimer, I don't know what Jonah Jackson wants. I can't speak for Jonah Jackson. But what I can speak for is what's best for the team. What's best for the team is to have a player who's available. When you invest money in a player, you want them to be available. If they're not available, then there has to be something in the contract that says, look, you have to be available for this amount of time, for this amount of snaps, and then you can get this amount of money. If you're not available for this amount of time and this amount of snaps, then you get this amount of money, right? So it's on the lower end if you're not available. It's on the higher end if you're available. Basic economics, it all makes sense. So again, uh, anybody that doesn't agree with me, let me know in the comments below. Anybody that thinks that we should throw the bag at Jonah Jackson, let me know in the comments below, and we can talk about it. You already know. This is my time. Smash that like button, subscribe, as they say around the industry, be a friend, tell a friend, and share, right? Gotta share. We're gonna help with the algorithm. Gonna get the chef in front of more people so they can get some of this home cooking so they can be a part of this experience. All right. We'll see you next time. Peace.